Hey there, folks. Gustavo Civlop. I've seen you pop in and out, Civlop, but I haven't actually seen you chatting much, so welcome back. These pieces of very fine glass or something there. Hey, laptop, David. Right, that worked. Just had to give him a little bit more liquid to flow around in. Alright, now our mat is clear. So just make sure I haven't got any personal information showing up on here. No, it's all good. Okay, since this is liquid damage, we don't try and turn these things on, and also since it's not an A1790, yeah, that's A1790, A2141s, liquid damage machines, all that kind of thing. You generally try not to power them on before you disassemble them, just in case you're sort of on your last legs of something. You know, if it's been submitted to you as liquid damage, then yeah, you already know that you're gonna have to pull it apart and clean it up, so don't subject the poor machine to more risk of total data loss. It's not so much an issue with the 1708s because they do have a removable drive. I mean, it can happen, but certainly with the other machines. Oh geez, okay, yeah, this is probably going to be a dead machine. I'd be very surprised if this comes back to life, but we'll give it a go. Straight away, just looking at the severity of the damage, it's all along here. So we've got our backlights being taken out. I can see burn mark there around the Wi-Fi chip. We've got a lot of damage there. It's likely not going to be ideal to repair it, but we'll see what we can do. There's Smeller and Silview. Linus Tech Tips YouTube channel just got hacked. Oh no. Let's see, working on an A1418 iMac stuck on a white screen. Wow. What usually causes white screen on those? Just dead GPU or dead CPU? Hey, Anthony McGregor and ARSA. So how do you know that LTT just got hacked? When you say hacked, do you mean like someone took all his videos or what? You can understand the attractiveness of trying to crack into LTT's YouTube channel. I mean, geez, imagine the revenue you could generate if you could redirect those views. LTT streaming Elon crypto stuff. Oh no, no. Those Elon crypto scams, they're actually a lot of them were quite well done, particularly if they were done in conjunction with a SpaceX launch or something like that. You know, if they got the timing right, they can look very convincing. And of course, yeah, you sort of think, oh, you know, if there's going to be one guy out there that will give us free money, it might be Elon, but really it's kind of the opposite. You're never going to get free money out of an extremely rich person, because they're extremely rich by the fact that they don't give out money for nothing. You can only hope. I think probably the worst thing is when the back catalogue of things like your YouTube channel get lost. It's just trying to recreate all the metadata for it, like, you know, the description and the what do you call it, the category selections, all that sort of stuff. The video itself, you know, you should have an archive of that, but recreating all the metadata that you upload with it or create with it, that is frustrating. Precisely, Stephen W. You don't get rich by giving away your money. It's that simple. Even if it appears as if you're giving away money, if you're smart, you're not really. You're getting something back for it. Something that's worth more than the amount of money you're putting out. Okay, what's going on here? Patrick? Hey, Clevo? Good, danke. And probably the worst bit here is that is probably going to have to be replaced, and that kind of throws the economic viability of this repair out the door if I have to replace these connectors. Because while they used to be dirt cheap because nobody cared about them, they are now filthy expensive because there's just no other way to get a hold of them. Seminars on how to make money, usually by people who failed in making money. But they're going to make money now because they've got the seminar on how to make money. And the camera is out of sync. Okay. And I'll have to reset the HDR setting. Come on, up you come. Alright, let's see, multimeter. There we go. So many damn things you gotta do. Right. So that's a great concern, that charcoaling burning there. I mean, the backlight is decimated. That is really well and truly wrecked. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm finding it hard to compel myself to fix this. Very difficult to compel myself. I'm actually not quite sure what that chip is, but you see we've got some... oh wait, no, this is CPU VREG stuff. Yeah, see we've got some really nasty looking corrosion down there. So I wonder what the CPU or GPU is looking like at the moment. These ones are fine. Or maybe that... anyway, let me bring up the board view and schematic and have a look. Wow, now that's actually kind of oversaturated now in a weird way. Is this 3v3s5? Oh, okay, so these are baseline things. Yeah, I'm not liking my chances. I know we shouldn't be dismissive before we've tried, but you know, experience tells us in this sort of scenario that even if we get the machine running, it's going to run quite badly. It's going to be intermittent. Oh, Wuhan's. Get COVID-23 out of it. It must have come from the underside of the case, because nothing up here is affected, so it was like the water got pulled in there. Just a really unfortunate positioning. I need to make up some more 80-20. I'm basically running out of 80-20. So we go make some more. The biggest trick's going to be the lack of distilled water. Okay, we've got our alcohol. I'm just going to go get some water. Because oh, somehow I ended up 80% water. That's I don't want that. Oh. Stick it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Still too much. Thank you, Dragon. Or Didumres, rather. I got your message. Keeping up with old times. Fortunately, the nice thing is if I spill this alcohol everywhere, nothing much is going to happen. Okay. So I might as well top up the other bottle. This bottle is used for the full concentrate. It's not diluted or cut or anything like that. So I have like a black strip on that, meaning it's full size, 100%. This one, pale yellow sort of thing, meaning it's half and half. It doesn't really matter what codes you use, as long as you know what you're dealing with. Sounds like Stephen W. saw the video on YouTube today. But yes, those alcohol methanol fires are scary. Okay, basically what we're doing here is we know where the liquid damage is. It's all over here, so we're just clearing away the ugly, nasty stuff, the stuff that will mix up in our flux and tend to make it harder to actually see what we're doing. I know it's a personal preference. Some people prefer to just glob on the flux and boil it away and things like that, but I don't really like the compounds that get created when you start mixing flux with random unknown corrosions and things like that. I washed it over with the 100% alcohol, even though we're not really that concerned about the water. It was more just as a final flush, so that anything that was collected in the water, like as in dissolved into the water, could get washed away into the paper towel and throw the paper towel away. Yeah, it's a good time to use the toothbrush now, yes. Alright. Let's have a look how bad it is now. So you can still see where the damage has been. There's there's no hiding it. So you can tell those caps are being eaten away, and there's plenty of indications that corrosion's been there, particularly at this sort of level where it's chewed into the board like that. There is some damage. So there's no disguising what is being dealt with here. First concern is going to be this TPS 62180 chip. Is 62180? No, it's not 62. 51980, I think. 51980s. We've got to deal with that, and that MOSFET there is kind of jacked up. And we have the concern that the solid state connector here, that's going to not be happy if we have too much heat, but we need quite a bit of heat to get these off. So we're going to have to shield that. Plus we have the camera memory here, which is also going to not want to have heat. So it's a rather awkward scenario. There's also a strong possibility that these caps, whatever's on this rail, are going to be shorted. Let's have a look. Amazingly not. Still amazingly not. Anyway, they will get removed in due course, simply because it is a bit of a train wreck. The backlight is probably one of the last things I'll worry about. It's this section here, because if this produced a high voltage, higher than what we want, then the rest of the board's going to be doomed anyway. Hey there, Harold, how you going over there? They still got us on the ban list for your postal services. Kind of frustrating that they've done that, but I guess that's life. Okay, and I kind of want to put another shield here to protect this RAM. I need to get bigger tin snips for this sort of work. I do have, I've got sort of the classic aviation tin snips. But sometimes you want sort of something in between. I should get those metal worker ones, the ones that are kind of look like robust scissors. And they're flat and they've got the usually blue handled things. Sort of thing you find in pretty much every single high school metalworking workshop. Omar, I make these from the back of iPhone screens, as in with the iPhone, like many of the new iPhone, well, older iPhones, they have that metal backing, and so yeah, I just cut them up because I get so many of them. I just cut them up and use them. It's a nice metal because it's quite heat tolerant, of course, but it's also very easy to bend, really. Yeah, you can bend it with your fingertips, no problem. Okay, let's get some flux down there and get to work. You can send with Dutch mail, but so Dutch mail doesn't give you an option for tracking. Wow. It's like they're trying to squeeze you out from either side. Because I mean, at least here we can send with tracking and all that sort of stuff we want. But it sounds like they want to have their cake and eat it. They're just sort of like going, oh, we don't want to send that, but if we do decide to send that, we don't want to give you the option to see how badly we send it. I'm actually getting a fair bit of flux fumes here. That's not good. Oh, they do offer tracking, but a ludicrous price. Really sounds like they're not wanting to do their job. I mean, who knows, but oh wow, that there's a connector up there that's getting melted slightly. Well, that's one way of removing parts. Except we got the wrong part. That's okay. Not a panic. Hey there, Neil from Reaper. We'll just cover that up. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It's an awkward area to try and get parts off. So actually, you really do not want to damage that solid state drive, the drive connector, because it is quite a nuisance to replace that, to the point where I don't even ever do it. Like if it gets damaged, I'm like, right, that's it, I'm out. That cat most definitely could take a walk. Oh wow, focus is complete crap. It's better. Okey-doke. Let's see what damage we got here. Okay, so this pin here got chewed up pretty bad, so let's have a look at what that is. So I think it's coming off here. Yeah, it is. So what is this? This is PP Bus G3 Hot 3v3S5. No, it makes sense that got chewed up. Old boy, yes, we were just discussing that a short while ago. It's old news. See how that connector just got melted up? In spite of the fact that I had it so I shielded off, but still took a hit. Hey, yate. Let's see what we can do here. Alright, okay, so this would have been the termination of its operating, because we've actually lost the trace there. It's completely and utterly vanished. Got eaten out by corrosion. That may have saved the machine, in all honesty. It's kind of like the liquid damage fuse in a way. Corrosion becomes a fuse. You kind of hope that it corrodes out before it does real damage, although it's been chewing away that long, goodness knows. Now, I might just remove these two caps out of an abundance of caution. That one's not too, but yeah, it's quite difficult because a lot of them are just terrible. Oh man. Okay, what bothers me here is that this is actually start to dig right in. Yeah, that's concerning because we've lost a via contact there. So there's no circuit, no copper going to wherever those vias are going to. So we're going to have to find out what other areas of the board that might have been going, because that's going to sit underneath the chip. You can see the copper top there. That's annoying. It is good to practice doing the repairs before doing repairs. So thank you for doing that. It is very frightening the number of people out there that offer their services professionally for things that they really just shouldn't be doing. Yeah, you can do lots of different things professionally, but it doesn't mean you can do all things. Like, I won't do, say, CPU swaps or anything like that, but I will do a lot of other things professionally. But you got to know when to say, you know what, I just am not yet qualified to do this. Just because you can suture up a cut doesn't mean you're a neurosurgeon. Do Apple plug epoxy fill their vias? No, not as far as I know. I mean, sometimes the conformal coat goes down into them, but it's not by intent, not by design as such. Yeah, they got to get those two caps off. No, Dunres, I do not have an appropriate amount of room in this workshop to do that sort of thing. Even if you sent me the equipment, I just do not have the room for it. I don't even have a room for my my little tiny desktop CNC machine. There's just no room. Pedro, I'll steal the donors from you. Come on, hurry up. Thank you. Yeah, now we need a donor. Actually, I don't know what. Let's see what those caps are. 2.2, 25. 2.2, 25. Okay, they're both 2.2 microfarad, 25 volt, 402 size. I may have those somewhere, I think, perhaps, possibly, probably not, maybe. You never know, give it a shot. Might get lucky. Let's see, 1063. I still haven't made the order for. 2.2, 25, 402. It's a miracle, and it's not even Christmas. That means I'm going to get nothing for Christmas now. Oh wait, that's normal anyway. There's a certain kind of happiness that comes about from not having to worry about Christmas presents. Both in terms of Receiving and giving. Obviously children will not take kindly to that perspective. They're in a different sort of scenario. I'm talking about adults. That's a really bad looking resistor, but I think it actually might be okay. It's not moving, it's just unpleasantly coloured. Yeah, this MOSFET situation does give me concern. So who knows where that via goes. Well, the fur kids get plenty of Christmas presents. They deserve it, I think. Maybe not actually. They can be right little terrors sometimes. Most times. Yeah, you wouldn't want to be over there at LTT at the moment. It's probably an absolute nightmare. Lots of people screaming. They'll probably find out who it is pretty quickly though, who did it. That kind of success in terms of cracking is not the sort of thing that tends to stay quiet for long. The people who did it, they just simply won't be able to contain themselves, and they will have to at some point blurt out that they were the ones that did it. They just won't be able to help themselves, and then it'll be game over for them. I'm gonna that's right. This one here I can actually take that lock bar away, so that's cool. I think we'll take... This is from a Pedro board, funnily enough. Can you believe it? Pedro actually being useful for once. It was probably NordVPN's fault. That's a joke, by the way. I wanted that cat. Give me a cap. They're coming with... Come on. There we go. Pedro, that board stinks. It stinks like... You know what, I don't want to think about what it stinks like. The point is it stinks, and since it came from your department, your apartment, it makes me worry. Pedro, yep, that's the DC import one. I mean, oh dear. Pin 1's up the front right. Right, yep, we got it. Oh, for flip's sake, Paul. Yep, let's bring the tombstone in. Oh yeah, we've got to find that chip. Wow, that was a good example of how not to attach parts to a board, okay? Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That was a fine example of how not to do things. See, I get impatient and I'm like, well, those two parts are pretty close to each other. I think I'm going to just let them get attached to the board together. But really, I should be doing it one at a time. They changed the name of LT2 to Tesla. Wow, sounds like they really had this planned out. Makes me think that they probably had already worked out the exploit quite some time back, and they were just waiting for a good opportunity. Wouldn't be surprised if it was leaked internally. So I guess the first thing you do is go looking for some disgruntled staff, ex-staff. See who's left on bad terms in the recent past, who had that kind of access. Although normally if you get that sort of situation, you typically redo all your passwords, but because that's such a colossal pain in the backside, you don't. By the way, fun and games. Oh, for frick's sake. Victim of my own desire to do better there. And in wanting to do better, I did worse. You would think that LTT would have a direct line to YouTube. Then again, who knows? Maybe they're not that popular with YouTube. Oof, that's a struggle. Just removing the bulk of the lead-free. Just gonna drop down some leaded. It's heaps. And that cap just dislodged itself, so I think we can safe to say that needs to be removed. It's this one down here. It's just a little noise cap. There for the purpose of keeping the FAI. What? No. Basically keeping the people who manage the electromagnetic spectrum, keeping them happy. That's it, the FCC. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Old fart problem, I guess. Alright, let's see if we can get this down without causing too much grief. And the next step, I just realised I need to put leaded solder on those pads, which is something I should have done before I put the little jumper wire on there, because it is much easier to do it without delicate jumper wires in the way. Yeah, I know, it looks sloppy as. Sometimes the flux runs away from the tip just too quickly. There we go, that's better. Surface tension is why it doesn't just fall off. It's kind of like you can hold a drop of water on a sheet of glass or plastic or even your own skin, and it will, up to a certain mass, it will just simply form a blob under you and hang there. Surface tension is a marvellous thing. Without it, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Kind of like friction. Yeah, a lot of people talk badly about friction, but you would have no well, life just wouldn't exist without friction. Too much friction, on the other hand, is a bit of a problem. Is this the Gandalf of board repair? Well, is that because I'm old and crusty? Geez, you're just full of the hurt tonight there, Pedro. Ach nee man. Okay, it's good. I like to get it so that it just grabs onto a couple of the pads, and then from there you can take your tweezers away and hopefully... Personally, I just frickin' hate these chips in general, because they almost never pull themselves into place how you want. Okay, why did you just jump out of the way? Because you don't have much of a pad under you. Yep. No real pad there. We'll go all Professor Snape on it and make it reveal yourself. Okay, that's all good. Like I said, I'd say about 90% chance this board is not going to work. Which kind of makes me sad that I'm spending all this time on it, to be honest. And lo and behold, that's another 2.225. Yeah, the corrosion is very strong on this one. Like I said, it's another reason why I'm a little bit disinclined to put my heart into it too much, because I won't be surprised if I get a message from this place later saying, oh yeah, that 1708 you did, yeah, it's back again because it's dead. And I'm like, yeah, no kidding. Hey Godfrey Allen. Ach nee man. Look at that. See how that... It just doesn't even get close to coming back into alignment. You need to have the exact amount of solder on that center pad so it can lift and separate without just floating off. Yeah, I'm willing to live with that. Hey, Simi Schreiber. And yep, yeah, everybody actually does. But thanks for letting us know. But yeah, we were aware of that. Okay, these two here are merged together, but I might just tease them apart. Famous words, I know, I know. What did I say? Yeah. Ah, for God's sake, it's still molten. The reason why everything goes molten very quickly now and sort of stays molten for a while is because the board has sort of come up to temperature. So the average temperature on this board is picking up quite a bit. Alrighty. Yes, that's warm. Hey, Trits. Might just steal some of that solder there. Good job. FIFO key in Apple infrastructure. What's a FIFO? Or FIDO key? Oh, I was going to say, what the hell's a FIFO key? But then again, in honesty, I don't know what a FIDO key is other than I know what FidoNet is back in the old day of bulletin boards, but don't know if that applies to the Apple scenario there. We're going to hit this area with a little bit of flux. Civil up, I wanted to be a doctor as a kid, but I just... Look, I'll be honest, I didn't have the... let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't have the tenacity to study for it. I mean, I can be quite tenacious, but not for that kind of work. I wanted to check this because this controls the Thunderbolt communications. It's the Thunderbolt ROM, which handles talking and trying to get 20 volts out of these guys. That's about the worst one there, and it's not too bad. The biggest problem is going to be if there's internal corrosion, in which case we're doomed and we're going to have to replace it, in which case it's not going to be replaced because it's not worth it. It just is not worth it. The board was attacking me for giving it a death warrant. I don't know why the coloration on the camera today is like it is. It's sort of... everything's just gone saturated and I don't know why. I must have inadvertently pressed something when I was shutting down. But then again, we did have a power outage this afternoon. But the power outage shouldn't actually affect the camera because it is battery powered, and basically if the power goes out, it's got about 6 hours worth of battery left in it. So it definitely wasn't that. Let's see what happens here, eh? Got to the wrong polarity there. Yeah, everything's all manky. There we go. 5 volts, 20 milliamps. Oh, 20 volts, there we go. We're, something's going to catch on fire, probably. 20 volts, 0 milliamps. So we've got a short, most likely. But at least we know our CD3215 negotiations are going okay. I guess I should check the resistances of those phases. Switch to resistance mode so it doesn't go beep. Hey, Christos. Because we know they're going to be low ohms. And oh, jeez. Okay. The new iPhone that I'm using, the 11 after my other one blew up, or NAND failed rather. It is extremely loud. Okay, they're actually looking alright. 2.3. It's quite okay. 1.5. Let's see. 1.6. I mean, aside from dead CPU. check that PP bus. PP bus is fine as well. I think the 20 volts is okay. Like I said, it's just staying at 0, very close down. Oh, I see. Oh, okay. The reason why your on screen is shut out is because it's actually running. Yeah, you can just. Stupid connectors. See, it's running at 1 or 2 milliamps, so it sort of tends to imply it's got a short. I'm just going to go deal with the micro, and then I'll be back. I should change my software so that if it is actually 20 volts, it shouldn't threshold the milliamps. It's only when it's at 5 volts and it's 1 or 2 milliamps I cut it, because a lot of the time it's just a bleed current in the cable. Anyway, I'll be back. Alright, here we go again. Hey Craig Jedi, Tom. Okay, so we're only getting like a trickle of current into this board, which tends to imply that there is a short circuit. Not always. It can be a situation where perhaps sort of secondary circuits aren't coming on, so it's just simply sort of stuck in a pseudo standby sort of situation. But given that it's liquid damage, it's sort of more likely that we have a short circuit situation. So rather than injecting voltage, because we haven't even found a short yet, we're just going to visually look at the board and see if we can find anything that looks particularly suspicious. And it's a little bit warm in here, so I'm going to drop the air conditioner down a couple of degrees. I'm going to go down to 22, which is a little bit cold, but better than nothing. So switch over to continuity mode, so it goes beep beep. So as bad as those backlight caps look, they're not shorted. And there's not much point looking at resistors. So I'm just going to fish around. It could also be related to that damage that we had here. We may have to come up with an alternate routing for the power that would have gone through there. That's not a short. Okay, that was just a case of energy in the circuit. That likewise, that one, it's a bit cruel that that happens. You get all excited and you're like, yay, I found the short, but then you realize that no, you did not. Ah, cam switch. Ah, right. Damn it. The switch has been thrown out yet again. We already tested that one, you dimwit. Like this here, this damage gives me a bit of a concern. I'm thinking that's actually, is that an inductor or is that a... Contrary to popular opinion, I don't know everything. Okay, that's 3v3s5. It's this one here. Okay, so we've found 3v3s5 has the short. It says SSD, but that really goes to many different places. It's just a renaming of it. Man, I thought I actually told that to shut up. Hey, King Series, first thing you do is disconnect the battery, pull it apart, dry it off, wash it if you have to, inspect for obvious corrosion, and then hope for the best. Which way are you going? Yeah, so you can see here it's got 3v3s5 coming in and then going out to the SSD. So most likely it's on the 3v3s5 side. Yeah, getting those batteries disconnected as quick as possible, that is the biggest thing when it comes to preventing damage on iPhones. Alright, we'll do an injection job on this. The thing I hate a lot when it comes to iPhones is when people send me a message and they say, you know, my iPhone's just gotten wet, I need to save it, it's got important data on it. And we'll say, that's fine, you know, even if it's like 10 o'clock at night or whatever, I just say to them, look, bring it around now, and at least we can get disconnected and, you know, stop it looping and causing grief and all that. And then they go, oh no, we'll come around tomorrow or whatever, you know, whatever, and we'll just stick it in on the side. Don't do that. And then they turn up a day or two later And they're like, oh yeah, we couldn't get it going, so is there any chance you can get it fixed up for us? And it's like, it's too late. It's just too late. In 90% of the cases, it's either the corrosion has eaten its way through, or they have filled up all the log space and it's not going to boot anymore, even if you can get it to boot. Depends on the phone though. I believe that Apple has now actually rectified that annoying run out of boot space problem. Okay, that's a pretty bad connection there, but I'm happy enough with that. But yeah, the people don't appreciate the time situation. But yeah, if you can, at least if you can get the battery disconnected, it stops the worst of what's going to happen. Because while there is some level of, corrosion occurring just due to atmospherical effects, along with the water, which of course is now contaminated, it's vastly less than the damage caused by electrical current going through it, power rather, whatever. Let's see, we want, even though it's a 3v3 line, we like to start with 1 volt, just in case it's going through. In fact, we'll make that 0.8, and we like to start at about no more than 1 amp. And that seems minor, but 1 amp, if it does comply out to 0.8 volts, it probably won't, but if it does, that's 800 milliwatts of power, which, believe me, is more than enough heat to find this short. You really don't need, if it's going to be a component and if it's the only thing dissipating the power, it's going to show up very quickly. Okay. One of these days I'll actually write better software for myself. Let's go full screen for this one. There we go. So power on. Nothing showing up yet. What are we doing? Okay, so we've got full voltage, but we're only doing about 1/4 of a watt. So whatever this is, it's marginal. It may take a while to show up. As long as it's not the CPU. And see how that's warming up? That's a bit of a concern. There is a little bit of a... Oh, I know what that is. It's just from the mat itself is actually hot still from the rework. Okay. Try 1 volt. Okay, so now we've got 400 milliwatts. Nothing showing up there yet. Still nothing. Well, it's annoying when it doesn't show up. iCloud backup is definitely very handy. I mean, it saved me the other day. Like when my iPhone 7 dropped dead, I just fired up the 11, put in my iCloud information, and then 3/4 of an hour later it was all ready to go again. Yeah, see that CPU? It's slightly warming up. That's a bad sign. Yeah, CPU's definitely picking up some warmth there. Okay, switch that off. It's interesting because we don't have a short on there, but it could be that the electronics managing the CPU are in trouble. Oops. I am aware of that little bit of corrosion that you saw. Geez, I hope that was 3v3. I was pushing into, yeah, 3v3 S5, yep. Yep, creature, it is messy. Okay, that's interesting. That's actually 3.5. Okay, so it shifted a little bit. Yeah, that's fun. Alright, time for me to stare at this a little bit. Let's see what I'm looking at. I'm just going to take this big MOSFET off and see which side the short is sitting on. I'm hoping, really hoping it's on the controller side. Creature that's mostly flux. We already did all the precautionary stuff while you were too busy not being here. having a conference call. You call that an excuse? Sounds pretty lame. And unfortunately that side is the system side. So, you know, it's going off to CPU directly and several other places. So that's not a good sign. So I would say that this is basically a dead board. My guess is what happened is that, you know, when all this corroded and all that, the voltages went bad and the 3.3 S5s went through to the CPU and upset it, put an end to it. Which you can't see because the stupid oh, now you're gonna be like that? Well, it doesn't really matter if it's PCH or CPU. Sorry, when I say CPU, I'm sort of referring to the whole unit, which in this case is a combined unit. But it's certainly not unusual. I know from the past that when those TPS chips, when they get hit, they almost always end up doing damage that basically kills the package. Yes, it is, Stephen, yeah. So basically we go from the full 20 volts coming in, or 12.6 after it's gone through the ISL, and then it gets bucked down to 3.3. So it doesn't take much to have a nice little 12 or 20 volt spike come screaming through. I can't see any damage, but not seeing any damage isn't the same as there being no damage. But I'd say, yeah, I'm going to go with writing this off. I could be wrong, but the behavior and the fact that the heatsink was heating up, it does tend to infer that the CPU took a hit. If we go back to the schematics, so yeah, if you get, this here is the 3v3S5, which is generated by this chip here, which is the one that we've just been dealing with. And so it's this side here that's shorted, and none of these caps are lighting up when we do the injection test. But what is warming up is the CPU, and so, you know, we've got a couple of lines going in there. That's all you need. We'll do an injection with the dye off. No harm in that. The trouble with trying to crowbar circuits like this is that due to the low voltage, it makes it a bit harder to do without having, you know, false hits. I mean, you can have supervisory circuitry, but when liquid comes along like that, you know, you don't know what it's going to do to your supervisory circuitry. So it's a difficult problem to solve in some ways. And from Apple's perspective, they'll just simply go, well, you shouldn't be getting water on your machine. So we've got nice thick, very thick wires there. So there'll be no real blaming of the cables, at least not initially. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you can see it starting. You can see the warmth building up there. Right on that PCH, out there. Look, we put in our little... there we go. What's going on? Did we lose heat then? Yeah, you can see the heat starting to build up in there. So we just push it up to 1. So yeah, we're going to call that a dead one. It's not severely dead, but it's dead enough. We turn off the power and that should abate. Yeah. So yeah, dead PCH in this case. Bit of a shame. Unfortunately, see, some people go, well, why didn't you test that straight away? It would have saved you a whole lot of time. And yeah and no. The reason why you can't test it straight away is because you've got to clean up the damage first before you can risk firing it up. Because if it is okay and you try to fire it up and do things with the voltage injection, you could end up causing other issues. So at least trying to fix it up to the point where you think, okay, we've got the risk factors out of the way, and then going for the voltage test, it's sort of the safer way. Obviously in these scenarios you lose the time, but overall you at least preserve the chance to actually save the board in the other scenarios. So we'll just reassemble this, as pointless as it is. Hey there, Tony Nash. So I guess in summary, you lose on these scenarios, but you win on the other scenario. You lose as in you waste your time, but you win in the other scenario as in you save the board. So this is from the customer's perspective. The what's the word I'm after? The benign choice. Anyway, yeah, so that sadly is cactus. Which is a really annoying thing. Alright, we've got a PC to fix next. This one's come in. This is a really old machine actually. But it's died or it's making strange noises, which really concerns me because I think, oh great, there's a hard drive. And it can't be upgraded or anything like that because it's running things like a cutting machine. Yeah, it's industrial type stuff. So you can't just sort of go, oh yeah, just change that over to a brand new machine that'll only cost you like a Raspberry Pi or something like that. You don't always have that option. Sometimes you just got to stick with what works and just keep it alive. But we will clean this first. Hey there, Jessica. What do you mean gutted your Mac? What, you mean to pull it apart and clean it up? Ah, damn that annoying thermal compound that Apple uses. Really likes to stick like crap to sheets. If you've seen the movie Trainspotting, you'll know what I mean. Yeah, that's the other thing, Creature. It is locked. When you mentioned that, it reminded me that yes, the person said it's locked to their hardware. They can barely even change a mouse. Let's see, which way up are you? Yeah. And of course, it's naturally in a great big machine. Okay, which way does your case come off? Oh right, this is flippy. This is running XP dual CPU version. Flip, flip. Ah, professional. Actually, that case like that would have cost a fair bit. Holy crap! Still using floppy cables. Well, we do have a SATA drive in there. Mind you, it is a very, very old Seagate. We've got an A-open, goodness knows what graphics card. It's impressive. We've got a classic old software controlled modem. Let's see, AX4P Max. Doesn't ring any bells. At least it's an Intel. That's empty. ID, CD, DVDs. I'm impressed this thing's got SATA on it. This probably was like, holy hell, that's actually an AGP card. Yeah, that is that is really old. AGP. Okay, let's see what happens when we power it up, shall we? See what sort of noise it makes. This would have been pretty much when SATA was first coming out. Okay, power in. Hopefully nothing goes bang, because I don't need that on my face. Okay, whiny. Holy hell, it actually taught one of these ones. It's complaining about the CMOS battery, I think, like that. That's interesting, they've got a 2025 in there. That should be 2032s, I think. Pretty sure these are supposed to be, or is it 20? I could have sworn these are meant to be 2032s, but 2025. Let's see what the voltage is on that. 3.27, that's perfectly alive, but I will switch it to a 2032 or 32 or whatever, 3023. Stop it, you people, you make me confused. Be right back. Actually, I don't even know what was being said then. The only reason why I went for that battery is because it looked like it was sitting a bit funny in the socket and the little light was blinking next to it. So I made the assumption. Next assumption to make is where the hell did I put my surgical knife? Try not to cut my finger. They're making these quite difficult to get in and out these days. Okay, yeah. 2032 is much better fit. Now the only other second problem is that because it's been changed, the date and time are going to be wrong, so therefore we need to get in. Now hopefully this is sufficiently mature enough to let me plug a USB. Okay, we've got a DVI for the graphics or HD15. We will take HD15, thank you. No point getting fancy here. Stick with what works. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure it'll actually work with my wireless keyboard and mouse, but I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? Plug it into the ones next to the PS2 ports. I need to switch this over to VGA. Selected. Plug some power back into the beast. Fingers crossed. Now, even if this comes out, I'm going to be very tempted to see if we can change the drive. Oh, that didn't come back up. Is that because the button was stuck in it? That's the other problem with these, is the power button can get stuck. Okay. Delete, please. Delete. CMOS check some. Yep, default, that's fine. F1 to continue, delete to setup. Yeah, we're going to have to use proper keyboard. Okay, bring out the old mechanical. The mouse will probably work, but the keyboards do seem to get a bit sensitive. Are you gonna need a reboot? No, you got that. There we go. Okay, standard. What is it? 23rd. Time 23:12. I'll do. Oh wow, it's a Pentium 4. That should be right for winter. ST312, what is that? 300, whoa, crunchy noises. Okay, XP it is. Alright, I think it was just a case of the battery was the wrong sort. The reason, and I've just noticed there are bad caps on that main board. So we're going to have to fix up the bad caps as well. Yeah, we're going to have to let that go. But yeah, there's bad caps on the main board, one there at least. Probably not affecting things yet, but certainly will. Yeah, the reason why the other battery probably wasn't working properly is maybe the contacts on the side weren't making contact with the battery. Wait, that sounds like the hard drive. Oh, that's grindy. Yeah, definitely I think we'll take that hard drive out and clone it, but I am worried that it's going to upset the software because of the fact that the software is going to be monitoring that. It's going to be monitoring that hard drive serial number. Yeah, so I don't know what this graphics card is exactly. Maybe you guys saw what it was. But yeah, I was not a big fan of the P4s. I always found them to be far too power hungry, and they were fine if you could find the sort of software that would utilize their longer pipe, but most of the time that was sort of when the world realized, well, it was thrown directly in its face along with the Intel Titanium, that very long pipelines are not the way forward at this point, because we really just did not have the compilers or the operating system intelligence, as it were, to be able to keep those pipelines full. Which is why then they bring out the hyperthreading, which is where they just basically let you split that long pipeline to two pipes and kind of cover their asses a little bit more. Tony, it's some sort of CAD software for controlling plotter cutters. Now I can only see the one bad cap on there, so I mean the others could be close, but there's definitely just the one right next to the CPU that's taking a bit of a dive. Not a bad screen really when you think about it. The angle that it's at, you still can see it. That's pretty good. Puts it pretty much into MacBook territory. Alright, that crunchy noise really is unnerving me. Okay, so as you can see, the mouse does work. Okay, we are going to turn off the computer. It doesn't have the same negative angle. Yeah, you're wrong. It's just as good on that angle there. It's always nice when creature's wrong. Brings balance back in to the universe. Yes, it is for sign writing, yeah. Okay. Alright, so we've got to get the board out. Definitely got to take this hard drive out. Now, even if this does complain with regards to the serial number changing, and I have no doubt that the manufacturer of the software probably isn't even with us anymore. At least we will have a copy of the software or something. And who knows, by now there could be a crack. Wow, they actually built this properly. There's screws on the other side of that. Man, these people were serious. Tony, I guess we're going to find out. I mean, I'm sincerely hoping they're not. But there's probably a dongle to run this as well. If there's a dongle, I've got a little bit more hope. This could do with a bit of an overall clean, but yeah, like I said, AGP card, that's impressive. I haven't seen one of these in a long time. Still, they're newer than the old, was it, I can't even remember now, was it VAPI, or what was the standard before AGP? Visa, wasn't it? VSA? Because I know there was a couple of competing standards at the time, and then a lot of the manufacturers just said, you know what, screw you standards people, we're going to do our own thing. Now there was another one. No, it was a VSA architecture or something like that. It was a pretty long slot, and it came before AGP. I mean, we're talking about the era of 486 type machines. Visa Local Bus, that's it. Thank you, Seville. Yeah, Visa Local Bus. Now, I'm trying to remember what the other competing standard was at the time that was trying to get a foothold, and they basically just got washed out by the Visa Local Bus. Only monitor serial or parallel port where the dongle is on. Okay, well hopefully that is the case, because it'll be a real unfortunate thing if we sort of get to the point where we've got to replace this hard drive, but we can't do that. The joy of lots of tension on the IDE cable. EISA, that was the one, yeah. Parallel port. Stick a nice little quick 80 backup unit on that. Okay, wow, the old 20 pin rather than 24 pin. Well, whoever created this machine, they've done a nice job. It's a really good case, because I can run my finger on any of these edges and not bleed. Which, believe me, it's a blessing. What's this? Okay. What I am going to have to do is take a photo of that panel configuration there. It's 20 pin, not 24. fancy new iPhone 11. That's not so new. It's new for me, alright? It's like takes me back to fixing cars before the internet. Whenever you, well, basically anything really, and you just take mountains upon mountains of pictures. Because you can be pretty damn sure that you're not going to find the user manual for this thing in a hurry. Worst case scenario, we can reverse engineer our way through those front panel settings. Oh god, that was the front USB port. Yay. Before standards were standards for USB. Oh no, wait, no, that's ground, microphone left, microphone right, speaker left, speaker right. Oh man, that was the dynamic audio header. Oh well. I can't imagine they really need audio much in this thing. Okay, just make sure we... I'm going to have to check that power supply as well. It's most likely going to have bad caps in it. This is 2003, so it's 20 years old. If it doesn't have bad caps in it, that in itself will be something of a miracle. Hello Jason. By the way Jason, your package did not arrive today. I got a notification to say that it should be out on delivery, but it did not arrive, and that doesn't surprise me because it's just the way it gets done around here. On A open under it's a AX4PE. It's Alpha X-ray 4 P for Paul, E for Echo. Alpha X-ray 4 Paul Echo. Peter, that's right. Goddamn Peter, he always steals my fame. Well, there's definitely the one bad cap on there. It's in an unfortunate position too. Hopefully I can just hopefully I had something similar enough. I say a bad position only because of the fact that it makes you don't have a lot of room if you've got an over fat capacitor. Like usually I like to use Panasonic FMs, and they tend to be a lower capacity for the same physical size as what a lot of these ones proclaim to be. Part of that is because of the fact that the FMs are proper low ESRs, but part of it is also because a lot of these ones, their claims are a little bit bullshitty. This is the max, yeah. It's a serious board. It's basically, you know, it's a bridge board between the old and the new of that era. You gotta love it when these things get stuck and you're like, okay, why are you stuck? Are you, just because I'm not being manly enough? In this case, that might have been it. Just had to get my man on. There we go. Just put that down for the moment. This is definitely going to be a full strip down job. So I'll be very shocked if the caps in this power supply are not borderline. probably wouldn't hurt to actually upgrade, replace this outright. Get one of the ones that has a fan on the underside, so at least it has slightly better durability and cooling. Mind you, it has lasted 20 years, so I suppose I should retract that comment. Okay. Yeah. Proper heavy. What the hell are you? Something weird. Throw that away. I don't want to know what that could have been. Alright. Fairly sure these hard drive bays do have sort of retaining tabs underneath the hard drive, but you always got to hold the hard drive just in case. Okay. There we go. $120 gig. So it's actually not too bad. So what I'm going to do is I need to create a job code for this, I just realized. Yeah, it's the Max board. Let's see, jobs. I don't know why I hadn't created a job code for it originally, but guess we're doing it now. Just checking something. Job management, create a new job. Let's see, P4, PC. Mid tower, fault, intermittent. Okay, 1713. Now we're going to load this into the recovery server. Which hilariously seems to have no power on it. Oh yeah, that's right. That'll be because we had the power outage. Which means now I've got to wait. Oh, it's not that one. For these sort of scenarios I use DD Rescue. It's all scripted to the hilt in that machine, so I just put it in there, run the command, and it handles everything for me. I don't know how long this is going to take to boot though. Hopefully it's not going to sit there and wait for a keyboard input. That will suck. Yeah, that's okay. Alright. Lots of updates that I could put in there, but I'm not going to do in there. Okay. What was that code? 1713. And let me just load it in. Okay, that's loaded in. Let's see if this thing wakes up. Okay, good. It's found it. We sort of expected that anyway, because I mean, it booted fine in there. Let's see. The big problem I find with a lot of hard drives, if you're worried about reliability, is definitely to avoid the odd sizes. Things like the things with 3 platters or 3 surfaces, odd number surfaces rather than the whole thing. Things like your 1.5 terabytes, your 3 terabytes, that sort of stuff. There are always problems with those odd numbered ones. Wow, we're really ripping through here at 40 megabyte a second, but that's not going to take long anyway, so we'll get back to the rest of the machine while we worry about that. At least that can do its job in background. That's a nice thing about it. Okay, we can zoom in a bit more on this. Let's see. Alright, so this looks like it's just a standard 4-screw top with the paper sticker. Hey there, Tradie Trev. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to fix this one. I think it'll probably be a safer bet to just replace it outright. It's done well. It's lasted a long time. There's no caps popping up at all in there, actually. The fuse is ever so slightly tainted, but most of this darker yellowing that you're seeing, that's just simply age. None of the caps are showing any sort of sign of premature failure, even though they are due for failure. It's one of the classic ones where you had the output port as well to go to your screen. That was always very handy to have. Yeah, and it's clean as a whistle in there. You don't normally see that. So we actually, I think I might just put this one back in service for the interim. We had a look, it seems fine. You know, if it continues to work fine, then I can't really come up with a good reason to replace it. I mean, the age is a little bit of a concern. I mean, you look like you got a 20-year-old power supply, so you sort of are expecting some kind of issues to pop up here and there. Because yeah, this stuff does not last indefinitely. So it's whatever it was. What is this? Just some generic branded thing, but it was built properly and looked after. That's the other half of the equation, looking after them. Alright, now we've got to deal with this main board with the bad cap. Is my butt showing? Probably. Oh well. Okay, so this here is one bad cap. You can see it's doming. Pretty unusual to only get one. And it makes me wonder if the rest are going to follow. Like I said, it's in an awkward spot, but it's pretty easy to see it. So we'll try and walk that one out. See if we can do better than Graham. Oh, thanks, Jason. This is going to be fun. I don't even know if I'm going to have enough height. No, I do not have enough height. Alright. So I've got a feel of it on the other side. We've got data traces coming along here, but we should be okay. Worst case scenario, if we scratch them up, we'll fix them up. There's a couple of impedance and timing matched ones over here. They'll be RAM probably. PCI, right. The best thing you do is get some leaded solder onto them. Oh yeah, that's coming out real easy actually. Too easy almost. Not used to him walking out this quick. Oh, it's almost like I asked it for a date or something. There we go. .22 microfarads, 6.3. Alrighty. Now the fun part is actually getting the solder out of there. You don't really want to use a mechanical desolderer because it will probably rip up one of those traces. So there's a few tricks you can try. Sometimes I like to actually walk the caps back in. One thing I just fucked up on. I know, fortunately they've got the silk screen, so we can tell where we've got to go and put it. So what do we want? What brand is this anyway? Oh, it's a Nicholson. Nikion or whatever they call them. Okay, so it's a good brand cap. It's a 105 degree version. 2263. Let's see what I've got. Axial capacitors. Explains why there's only one that's failed and not all. Could be using leaded solder, yeah, but I mean just in terms of thermal absorption it's also pretty that was pretty laid back. $1016. Yeah, this is going to be fun. It's going to be one of those things where you have so many different types but never the one you want. I may have to... yeah. And even when you order in replacements, because you go, okay, well, I needed these ones this time, you order in the replacements and you cover that gap, but then you find that sooner or later another one comes along that you don't have. Okay, so we've got 2216s, 2225s, that's way too high, 1010, 1010. Worst case scenario, I can put 1000 in there. 2210, but it's far too large on its profile. That's like a 10mm footing, whereas we want I think it's about a 7mm footing. 1063, oh man, I'm getting to the bottom of the bag. That's bad news. Oh, that sucks. Honestly, I have so many caps and none of the right type. That really sucks. That's just so typical. Christian being funny with the English language there. Let's go through and double check these. 7035. Physically, they're a bit of a match. Actually, these are slightly better. Okay, so these are the Panasonic FMs. So if I had to, I would consider putting those in. Now you may be thinking, oh my god, you're like 1000 microfarads low. And yeah, I mean, you're correct, I am 1000 microfarads low, but in these sort of scenarios, it's probably not going to be an issue. I would say that cap has probably been running at much less than its rated capacity for quite some time. Can't believe I don't have many 2200s, it's kind of weird. Yeah. I shotgunned all around, still didn't have what I needed. 1016. $35s are pointless anyway. So I think I'm going to go for the 10. These are the closest match overall for everything. And they've got the proper physical spacing. Not that the physical spacing is everything, you can sort of like, you know, bend the lead in a bit. But overall, if I was, well, I am forced to make a choice, then that would be my choice. I'm not really overly concerned about the physical package size or anything like that, other than the fact that the pitch of the legs, that's what matters. If it is a fair bit bigger, I can crimp the leg in, but I don't know, did I have a 25? Maybe I can jam that 25, that 10 volt 2200. Where was that? Sorry, I'm just having second thoughts. Only because I'm thinking, you know, can I do better? But yeah, I mean, after 20 years, those caps are nowhere near that. You could say, though, that, well, collectively, they're still holding up. So, you know, now that you've taken out a portion, maybe you're going to ruin everything. I don't know if these unpopulated ones are, I'm going to say they're not. Anyway, so this is a 2200 10 volt. It's also a 105. I'm not exactly sure which brand this one is, but I can crimp the legs in. I can put a bit of a dog leg in it. It's not ideal, so it's really a question of, do you physically adjust things to make it work, or do you stick with the physical match? It's 50-50 either way. Yeah, there's... I think I might dogleg it. Just got to make sure you dogleg it away from the base cap. If you dogleg these things too close to the base cap, you will lead to a rupture, a leak. You watch, I'm gonna dogleg it too far. Yeah. So that's what we end up with, and yeah, that is actually too close. It's now actually a bit too narrow. Oh well. Greg, fortunately with this one, they've actually done us a favor. They've actually marked positive and then shaded on all of them, so it's a confirmation. So thank goodness for that. Okay, anyway, the next step I take when putting these back in is to actually cut them pretty short so that you don't have to spend your whole time trying to, if you're walking it back in, you don't spend all your time walking. I'm gonna see if I can clear out that hole, but I have my doubts. I mean, as easy as it did come out, I don't think it's going to draw the wick. I could try hot air it, but I'm kind of not feeling that level of luck. Just going to give myself a bit of a head start here. This is my warm-up temperature, just to get some heat in the board, because as soon as I put the soldering iron down with that wick, the heat's just going to get drained right out of the soldering iron tip. Yeah, I'm not going to use a sucker. Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the second pop. Yeah, I didn't get that, no. It didn't go through. Not surprised. What I could do is I could try and put it all through there. But I'll just try and walk it through. Conical chip was multiple. I don't know if it's going to do much on the top side, but we'll try it. I might have to sort of pickle it a little bit with some leaded. These boards can be a little bit deceptive. Yeah, I'm not going to use a soldering pump on boards like this. Okay, just getting my hand in here is half the fun. It's really not grabbing that next layer of solder, see? Ach, niemand. Yeah, this one actually might have. Yeah, okay, that one did. I could put a 0.2 or 0.3 mil drill bit through there, but I don't think I'm going to have to. Now that I've got one clear, I can do the walkthrough really easy. Should have used Micro's needle. If this wasn't located quite so close to the, I'm just going to cut the negative lead back a little more. Right, which is actually contrary, but anyway. If I wasn't so close to the CPU, then I would enact a different technique, but I am, so I'm not going to. Okay. I think we're lodged in. Yep, we are. So you're not going to see this come through. I need 3 hands. I think I've missed the mark. Easier if I do it this way. Harder for you to see, but easier for me. Sort of, maybe, probably not. There we go. Okay, just gonna make sure I've got some relief on that. do some flux actually. I could have used a needle, but like I said, because I've already got one hole cleared, then it was just a case of I just walked it through. There wasn't really any need to clear that second hole, considering that it already had a good portion. There was already a good portion of that blocked hole cleared away, so it had a cavity for me to rest the leg in, so it's all fine now. Especially considering it's only one hole. Now the cleanup. And that hard drive, wow, they don't have much on it. It's only at 50 gigs right now, but it's an empty drive from there on. There's a bit of persistent flux there. Come on. Well, flux doesn't want to come off. It's annoying. Hey, on stage. What's this? Yeah, it was interesting to see on the other side they had their own TO220 upright with that heatsink on. Alrighty. Looking good. Yeah, Stephen, I'm gonna push him over to an SSD. I gotta admit, that is ugly as truck. It's not touching the heatsink, and it's not touching the caps under there, so it's okay. It's just not pretty, and you know, physically, for prettiness, this would have been the better match, which was the 1000 microfarad 10 volt. But in the back of my brain, I'm thinking all these other caps will have lost some of their capacitance over the years. So if we, you know, try to bring it up. Hey, Macwag. Yeah, that's the heatsink there. This probably should do with a bit of a air blast as well. Alright. Other than that, it's like I said, it's in pretty good condition, really. I think the biggest thing I'm going to have drama with is actually getting everything back in. Oh wow, this has got an integrated FireWire 400. Must be this chip here. This is like would have been a fairly expensive board. Integrated FireWire. Is it integrated Ethernet? 3 IDE channels. Audio. Audio was pretty much common by then. It's got its own promise. That would be a SCSI control? No, SATA controller. Okay, alright, that's fine, yeah. Oh, it's probably a RAID one, potentially. Resolder the chipset cooler eyelets. Had them point out instead of a retro. What? Chipset cooler eyelets. I don't think I want to take that. Which eyelets are you talking about? Because these ones are bolted through. Relatively expensive, feature-packed model, didn't tweak well. Oh, for most people that wouldn't be a matter. Most people don't care about that, thankfully. Yeah, I'd say that's a RAID 1 controller or RAID 0. I mean, I remember even like 1999, 2000, we were doing software RAID on Linux. and it was getting to the point where it was exceeding the performance of the hardware controllers. Oh, these things, right, the chipset. Let's see. Nope, not touching those. No, that's a negatory. Not touching them. That one there and that one there. Yeah, there and there. They look pretty sturdy. Come on. Piece of wire. Annoying, annoying, annoying. Hey, Mr. Rossman. This is your next personal assistant computer that you're going to keep in your pocket. A beautiful P4, perfect for New York winters that you don't experience anymore. Roast your leg from 0 to medium rare in 5 minutes. Put a heatsink on Southbridge. I'm not touching anything on this board. This board has been running for 20 years. I am not messing with it. We already did enough messing around putting that cap in. That looks less than perfect. Mr. Rossman, what are you doing here anyway? Shouldn't you be out legislating and politicizing and all that sort of stuff? Chasing New York people? Finding out what lobsters own that postbox in Maine? Anyway. Okay, at this point I'm still going to have to... Looks like we've got some more spurless data. We've got some more spurless data on the back of the drive, so we're going to have to wait for that to finish up. And there's not much else for me to do. Put that power supply back in. I will clone this onto... Geez, what have I got here? Can't use that, that's an NVMe. Cats are numerous and belligerent little bastards. We've got a 240. Okay, we'll use a 240. Yeah, we've got 5 kittens, 2 mothers. Yeah, we've got a lot of things going on. I've got a new fence being installed. That's going to be 100 meters, 330 foot for you backward people, and that is going to be set aside for looking after all the rescue cats that we have, and things like that. And we've also got to get the roof fixed up on this place, half of it anyway. So easy way to burn through some money. But anyway, yeah. When are we going to see some more like walk-in repair stuff from you, Lewis? Like, yeah, where you got the community coming in and fixing up stuff, because that was fun. Wife is good, yeah. Still got to work out what we're going to do about children, though. MX500 SSDs, yeah, they have come down in price. These I just sort of pick up as like for these sort of scenarios where it's an old laptop, old PC or something, just to get people through. The MX ones are probably about another 20% more expensive. It's not a big thing, but sometimes people are a little bit too sensitive on pricing. Nobody has come recently. Alright, that's pretty bad news. I'm not happy to hear about that. Why do you think that is? Do you think people just aren't aware, or they're just... yeah, who knows? You should invite Kopaz back. Linus just tweeted an hour ago that he was aware. I'm pretty sure Linus would be very aware the moment things went wrong. So you need to advertise more. Well, you got the same problem that I do. That's basically what it comes down to. I have been screaming my head off because I keep ending up with everybody's sloppy seconds when it comes to MacBook board repairs, and it's starting to really actually piss me off. I had one in the other night, and it was one of the new MacBook Pros, and it had been butchered as if that guy that came in and you gave a Dremel, it was like he went at the MacBook board blind, and you put him on meth or something like that and made him trip out. That's how bad it was. I just had to walk away from that board. But yeah, we're getting too many of these pre-butchered machines, and it's not to say I'm perfect at fixing things, because I know I'm not, but well, you know the difference between when someone butchers something versus when someone can't fix something. So no, Linus got hacked by Chlorodite actually. Yeah, not me. Anyway, it's time for me to sign off. There's not much more I can do. I've got to wait for that hard drive to copy. I will try just copy it across. I'm not even going to ask the customer. I'm just going to copy it across, see if it works for them. If it does, that's great, because I really don't want to trust that Seagate any further. I mean, it's 20 years old. It's, you know, a long time for a Seagate, or a long time for any hard drive for that matter. So I'm out of here. Sorry we didn't have any win on that MacBook. Curse of the liquid damage. It does tend to do that to MacBooks, you know, kill the CPUs, kill the PCHs, but we try to see what we can fix. We're not always successful. At least this was something different. That capacitor is really irritating me, but I'm going to have to let it be. But it may get to the point where I order another batch of capacitors and I put that one, the right one, on the list, and I ask this person to bring their mainboard back and I swap it over. Or I might not. We'll see how I feel. Anyway, I'm out of here. You all take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Catch you later.